I was 25 when I moved back to Tacoma with a master's degree in data science and more student debt than pride. My parents had stopped calling halfway through college. My mom bounced around boyfriends. My dad never showed up to begin with. So, when Nancy Bennett, Dana's mom, used to invite me over for Sunday pot roast and say things like, "You're already family?" It stuck. She died 6 months before I graduated. I married Dana anyway. And even though Nancy had treated me like a son, her husband never did. Larry Bennett ran this crusty old marketing company, Bennett Strategies, like it was still 1997. Beige carpet, wood paneling, fax machines. He had no clue what data was even for. But Dana begged him to bring me on, and he did. Kind of. Tossed me a spare office with a wobbly desk and told the team I was some kind of analytics guy. That was it. Kayla, Dana's sister, made it worse. She never said anything to my face, but she didn't need to. She'd smirk whenever I offered ideas, rolled her eyes in meetings. Once I walked into the kitchen, and she didn't even stop talking about me like I wasn't standing right there. "He's not really family," she told one of the interns. "Just Dana's project." I should have quit, but I didn't. Instead, I did what I knew. I started rebuilding an old machine learning tool I'd developed in grad school. Nights, weekends, I was in that office more than anyone. Took apart their whole client data structure, automated half their reporting, built a predictive engine for market behavior. Within 2 years, I landed them major national clients: Starbucks, REI, Verizon, Kaiser Permanente, and more. Accounts that would eventually number around 15. Not leads, contracts, signed and sealed. The company had been bleeding cash. Now, it was bringing in 8 figures. But no one acted like I mattered. Larry told people it was a family turnaround, gave Kayla a new car, gave me a company mug. Before we go on, share what you're watching from. Curious how far this story travels. Anyway, I kept my head down. I didn't ask for praise, didn't want a bonus, just wanted to prove myself, to make it work. I kept telling myself maybe Larry just needed time. Maybe Kayla would come around. I even asked Dana if I was imagining it. "You're not," she said. "They're just stuck in their ways." It's not about you, but it was. The truth was, no matter what I did, I was always going to be the outsider, the charity hire, the one Nancy vouched for before she passed. Without her around, I wasn't family. I was just the guy her daughter married. So I stopped waiting for approval and started building something they couldn't ignore. I named it TrendPath, the predictive engine I'd built from scratch, and licensed it under my own LLC, Marsh Analytics. I structured the client contracts so they hinged on my role at the company. The clauses were clear. If I ever left the executive team, they could walk. Larry never read the contracts. He was too busy playing golf and pretending he was still the brains behind a company he barely understood. And Kayla, still executive something, doing absolutely nothing, pulling 6 figures to float around the office like a sorority president who'd missed graduation. Dana didn't know all the legal fine print, just that I was working 80-hour weeks, barely sleeping, and somehow turning her dad's dusty company into a $200 million machine. I didn't care about credit. I wanted stability, a future, a family. And even though Larry kept hogging the spotlight, talking to the press like he'd masterminded the whole thing, I let it go. I kept my mouth shut and showed up every day like I owed him something. We finally set a date after 6 years together. Nothing flashy, just a waterfront ceremony at a lodge near Union Lake. Intimate, peaceful, no drama. That was the goal. We didn't even do a bridal party. Just us, close family, and about 130 people we thought we could trust. The ceremony was perfect. Dana looked unbelievable walking down that aisle. I remember gripping her hands during the vows, feeling like, all right, this is it. We made it. For once, I thought things were good, really good. Reception kicked off right as the sun dipped behind the water. We did our first dance to some songs she loved in college. Then came the toasts. Dana's best friend spoke. My old roommate from grad school said a few words. Everyone clapped, laughed, cried. Then Larry stood up, wine glass in hand, tie loose, classic smug grin. "Now, I don't usually make big announcements at weddings," he said, raising his glass. "But tonight's special, not just for Dana and her new husband." He glanced at me, but didn't say my name. It's a big night for the company, too. Bennett Strategies is entering a new era. I stiffened in my seat. Dana reached for my hand. Larry kept going. Which is why I'm proud to announce the new CEO, someone with true vision, who understands legacy and leadership. My daughter, Kayla. The room fell dead silent. I heard a fork clatter to the floor. Kayla smiled like she'd just been crowned prom queen. Dana whispered, "What the hell is he doing?" Larry held up his glass like nothing was wrong. "To family." I didn't say a word, didn't move, just sat there, jaw tight, watching my name get erased in real time. Not even a mention, not a thank you, nothing. I was the one who saved that company. I built the damn product, closed the clients, worked nights and holidays while Kayla was doing yoga and posting inspirational quotes on Instagram. The applause started, soft, confused, scattered. Then Larry walked right over to our table. Everyone was watching. My stomach was in knots. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a crumpled $20 bill, and pressed it into my hand like he was tipping a valet. "This is what you're worth, son," he said, loud, smirking. I froze. My chest burned. My ears rang. Dana looked horrified. I slid the bill into my pocket, stood up, and nodded like I was fine. I wasn't. But I didn't give them the satisfaction. I walked back to our table, poured a drink, and toasted nothing. That night, while Dana slept, I opened my laptop and got to work. I shut the laptop around 4 a.m. My hands were shaking from adrenaline. Contracts sorted, clauses highlighted, calendar flagged. Everything I needed was in place. But first, I had to get through the morning after performance. I stood in the kitchen, staring out the window while the coffee brewed. Dana came in wearing one of my shirts, rubbing her eyes. "Did you sleep at all?" she asked. "Nope." She didn't press, just poured herself a mug and sat down. The silence between us said enough. We both knew last night crossed the line. By the time we left the lodge, I'd already gotten 3 replies from client teams confirming they'd review their exit options, ASAP. By noon, Verizon's legal rep asked for a call. They wanted to move fast. I played the part that whole weekend. Smiled through brunch, thanked guests, held Dana's hand like nothing was boiling underneath. But Monday morning, everything changed. I left the office and didn't go home. Parked in a lot behind an old bank 2 blocks down, opened my laptop, and got to work. It was 11:57 p.m. I pulled up every major client contract, Starbucks, Verizon, REI, Kaiser, the whole list, and dropped in a termination notice template with the clause highlighted. Contract subject to immediate termination upon departure of principal data, architect or executive transition without penalty. Then I attached the change of leadership announcement Larry had sent out that morning, proudly naming Kayla CEO. By 12:30, all 15 emails were out. Then I opened the TrendPath licensing agreement. 1 clause, simple and airtight. License revocable upon change in operational leadership or non-compliance with usage terms. At 12:42, I sent the revocation notice to Bennett Strategies' legal team and copied Megan, the CFO. No explanation. Just a straight kill notice with timestamps and effective end of use. I leaned back in the car, watching my breath fog the windshield. The heater was off. My fingers were frozen. I didn't care. At 6:15, I drove home, showered, and shaved like it was any other Tuesday. By 7:30, I was back at Bennett Strategies. Jeans, button down, no tie, laptop bag in one hand. The other carried 3 folders, my resignation, the termination confirmations, and the IP rights for TrendPath, filed, notarized, sealed. The receptionist looked nervous when I walked in. "They're already in the boardroom," she said. "Larry said to bring you straight in." Perfect. I opened the door like I owned the place. Larry sat at the head of the table, tapping a pen like he was bored. Kayla looked like she hadn't slept. Greasy bun, blotchy face, oversized blazer like she'd grabbed it off someone else's chair. Megan, the CFO, didn't even greet me. I dropped the folders on the table. "Everyone ready?" Larry shrugged. "If you're here to grovel, I'll keep an open mind." I plugged in my laptop, opened the first PDF, and projected it to the big screen. Client termination confirmations. Effective immediately. Kayla leaned forward. "What the hell is this?" Megan scanned the papers. "These are signed." Starbucks and Verizon already terminated? They did, I said. And the rest are on deck. Larry shifted in his seat. You think this makes you look powerful? It makes you look unstable. No, I said, flipping to the next file. This makes me look like the guy who built your business and gave you a way out. You pissed it away. TrendPath is company property, Kayla snapped. You can't just take it. Did you read the license agreement? I said. Marsh Analytics owns it. I licensed it to Bennett Strategies under my terms. That license is now revoked. I clicked to the final document, IP ownership and licensing revocation. Megan turned pale. This is dated and sealed. It is. Kayla shot up from her chair. You can't do this. This is sabotage. No, I said, calm as hell. This is what happens when you put your ego before your business. Larry tried to laugh it off. Let's be rational here. We can bring you back in, give you a new role, partner, maybe. Clean slate. You stood up in front of 130 people and handed my work to someone who couldn't explain the difference between SQL and HTML, I said. Now you're going to live with that. You're overreacting, Larry muttered. I pulled up the client loss projections. 200 million in contracts, gone. Your platform's down by end of day. Your new CEO, she doesn't even have her login credentials. Kayla's voice cracked. Dad, say something. Larry didn't. I unplugged my laptop, closed it, and stood. You wanted me out. Now you'll see what that costs. Then I walked out the same door I came in. The door slammed behind me. I didn't look back. The second my boots hit the hallway carpet, I felt it. The silence cracking behind me, pressure shifting, like the first pop before a dam bursts. And I knew, deep in my chest, everything was about to cave in. I was halfway to the elevator when I heard heels pounding after me. You can't do this, Kayla shrieked, voice bouncing off the walls. I didn't stop walking. I don't care what you think you built, she snapped. You're not God. You're not some genius. You're just pissed off. I turned my head slightly. Keep yelling. See if it brings the clients back. She stopped dead, jaw clenched like she wanted to slap something. Probably me. I kept moving. Behind her, I caught a glimpse of Megan, the CFO, stepping into the hallway, phone pressed to her ear, eyes wild. Her other hand gripped a tablet, shaking. Larry, she said, barely holding it together, we're hemorrhaging. The system's down. No client access. Starbucks is out. Verizon just canceled the back-end sync. REI's already offline. More shouting inside the boardroom. I hit the elevator button. Larry came charging down the hall like it was still his company. All right, look, we got off on the wrong foot, okay? He tried to smile. You're upset. You felt blindsided. I get it. Let's just sit down, talk like family. I faced him. Stop. You don't get to play dad now. He raised both hands. Come on, kid. You're family. Let's fix this. You don't get to call me family, I said. Not after what you pulled at my wedding. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out. The elevator dinged. You think this is going to make you feel better? He asked, tone sharp now. Burning the whole thing down, I stepped in, turned around, looked him square in the face. You made your choice, I said, hitting the button. Now live with it. The doors slid shut. I stood there as the elevator hummed down. No smile, no sense of victory. Just pure, cold clarity. I walked out through the front lobby. The receptionist didn't say a word, just stared at me, like she knew she'd just watched a company die. Outside, the wind hit hard, gray clouds rolling in. I pulled out my phone and checked my inbox. 3 more confirmations, all terminating. I got into my car, shut the door, and just sat there for a second. Not angry, not sad, just done. By noon, my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Bennett Strategies collapses overnight. AI platform yanked by developer. Inside the sudden fall of a $200 million firm. The tech blogs were all over it. LinkedIn lit up like a bonfire. Some called it a hostile takeover. Others called it sabotage. I didn't respond to any of it. Let them guess. Let them spin it. While they talked, I built. I'd already signed a short-term lease on a glassbox office suite in Bellevue. 12 desks, fast internet, whiteboards on every wall. No receptionist, no ego, just hustle. By 4 p.m., 3 of my best devs from Bennett had messaged me. If you're starting something new, I'm in. By the end of the week, I had 8 former employees sitting on folding chairs, eating pizza, and coding like their lives depended on it. Starbucks signed with Marsh Analytics 41 hours after my exit. REI followed 2 days later. Verizon set a meeting for Monday. That weekend, Dana and I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment above a Thai restaurant. I worked from the kitchen table. She worked from the couch. We shared takeout in silence. She never said much about what happened, but when the press started naming Kayla CEO of a collapsed shell, and Larry as the failed founder who got outmaneuvered by his son-in-law, Dana stopped reading the news. One night, she sat across from me, flipping through her phone. Then she set it down. "I can't even look at him," she said. I nodded, didn't push her. It's like, how do you do that to your own daughter? At her wedding, her voice cracked a little. He didn't just disrespect you. He embarrassed me. I didn't know what to say. So I said nothing. 3 weeks in, Marsh Analytics had contracts worth over $60 million. No middlemen, no red tape, just results. I wasn't sleeping much, barely eating. But I didn't care. We rebuilt TrendPath from the ground up. New security layers, new client dashboards, stronger data pipelines. The code was cleaner, faster, hours. Then Larry tried to sue. We got the papers on a Thursday morning. Dana opened the envelope, read the first line, handed it to me without a word. Unauthorized use of company intellectual property. My lawyer laughed when he read it. This is going to get thrown out before they can hit print. He was right. We filed a response that same afternoon. The original licensing agreement, time-stamped and notarized, shut it down in court within a day. Case dismissed. The text came late at night, just a single line from Kayla. "Please meet me, just once." Gig Harbor, diner, noon. Tomorrow I didn't reply, just showed up. She was already there when I walked in. Corner booth, hoodie pulled up, sunglasses on, like she was hiding from the world. And honestly, she looked like hell. Eyes baggy, hair tied back in a sloppy knot. Makeup smudged like she hadn't touched a mirror in days. When she saw me, she stood. "Thanks for coming." I slid into the booth without saying a word. The waitress came over, dropped 2 waters, didn't ask for orders. Like she could feel the tension from across the diner. Kayla pulled the sunglasses off and looked at me. Her voice cracked right away. "Please, just hear me out." I didn't nod, didn't blink. She took a breath. "We didn't know you had the rights. To the contracts, to the tech. None of it, Dad thought." She trailed off, eyes drifting. "What?" I said. "That I'd roll over? Smile for the camera while you snatched everything I built?" "He thought you'd stay," she said, voice low, "no matter what." "And the $20?" I asked. "That part of the plan too?" She looked down, silent. I stared at her until the moment got heavy enough to force the truth out of her. "We messed up," she said, quiet but clear. "Okay? We messed up bad." I leaned back in the booth, let the silence do the talking. After a minute, she leaned in. "You could fix this? You still have the contacts, the tech, the team." Dad would step aside. I stood up. She flinched like I slapped her, but I didn't raise my voice, didn't throw a fit, just looked down at her and said what needed to be said. "You wanted to be CEO," I told her. "Be one." I walked out without looking back. 2 weeks later, they filed for bankruptcy. Bennett Strategies was done, finished, office emptied, staff scattered. Larry stepped down quietly. No statements, no interviews, just gone. As for Kayla, her LinkedIn vanished the same day the bankruptcy hit the wire. 5 months later, Marsh Analytics blew past $500 million in valuation. We locked in Microsoft on a 5-year deal. Costco followed right after, bringing their full retail data network with them. People started calling it the AI turnaround of the decade. Reporters kept reaching out. I ignored them all. I didn't need headlines. I already knew what I built. We bought a place just outside Redmond, not some mansion, just enough room to breathe. Yard, trees, a little fire pit in the back. I gutted the garage and turned it into a development lab. Dana decorated the kitchen like her mom used to. I hadn't felt that kind of peace in years. One Saturday in August, we invited the team over. No suits, no pitch decks. Just burgers, beer, paper plates, and music playing from a Bluetooth speaker. I manned the grill. Dana handed out watermelon slices like it was the 4th of July. Half of them were people who left Bennett with me. The others were new. Fresh grads, freelance geniuses, folks who actually cared about the work. We didn't talk about Larry or Kayla or what came before. That chapter was closed. After everyone left, Dana and I sat on the back steps with 2 drinks and the last of the potato salad between us. The sun dipped low behind the trees, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I had anything to prove. She leaned her head on my shoulder. "I'm proud of you," she said. I didn't say anything back. I just kissed her temple and stayed still. That moment was enough. Later that night, when the house went quiet and the beer buzz wore off, I walked into my office and looked at the wall. That $20 bill was still hanging above my desk, crumpled, sun-faded, framed like it meant something. And it had. It did. But not the same way anymore. I took it down, grabbed the old scrapbook from the filing cabinet, the one where I kept our first check from Starbucks, the napkin sketch of TrendPath's prototype, and a photo of the server room we built that first month in Bellevue. I flattened the bill out one last time, slid it into the plastic sleeve next to the photo, and closed the book. A few minutes later, Dana walked in, holding an envelope. "This came earlier," she said. "Forgot to give it to you." It was handwritten, no return address, but the penmanship was unmistakable. Larry. I held it for a second, thought maybe I'd rip it open, maybe I'd burn it, maybe I'd laugh. I didn't do any of that. I just slipped it into the scrapbook and closed it right on top. About a month later, I got invited to speak at a college in Tacoma, some business seminar they were calling Overlooked Innovators. Small room, folding chairs, maybe 50 students tops. Half of them looked hungover, the rest looked half asleep. I didn't care. I stepped up to the mic wearing jeans and a t-shirt that still smelled like charcoal from the last company cookout. No slides, no fluff. "I'm not going to sell you a dream," I said. "Just tell you what happened." I laid it out plain. How I built something great, got pushed out by people who couldn't see past their own last names, and then came back stronger. I didn't name names. Didn't have to. When you're underestimated, I told them, don't get mad. Get ready. A couple of the kids nodded. One girl started typing fast on her laptop. The rest sat up a little straighter. I finished in under 20 minutes. Didn't wait for applause. Just stepped down and grabbed a water bottle. As I was packing up, this kid came up to me. Maybe 19, barely taller than the podium. Hoodie zipped to his chin, hair sticking out in all directions, hands shaking like he was about to ask for a raise he hadn't earned yet. "Hey, that was cool," he said. "I'm working on something right now. A project, kind of. And no one believes in it." I nodded. "Good." He blinked. "Good?" I reached into my pocket and pulled out a card. "Let 'em doubt you. That's where the edge comes from." He took the card like it was gold. "Thanks, man." I walked out without looking back. Dana was waiting in the car, passenger seat, window down, sunglasses on. As soon as I climbed in, she reached over and grabbed my hand. "You did it," she said. I didn't answer right away. Just looked out across the skyline. The sun was setting over the city. The clouds lit orange behind the high-rises. They could tear down a business, strip your title, steal your seat, but they couldn't take what you built with your own 2 hands. And me? I hadn't just bounced back. I'd built something nobody could touch, and all it cost was a $20 lesson, worth every penny.